Yo, what is going on, you guys? So today I'm bringing you guys a brand new sports cards video. In today's video, I'm going to be putting myself in the shoes of an investor who's coming into the sports card market today, and kind of sharing with you guys all the knowledge that I have gone through for the last 3 years of, making mistakes, figuring out what works, what doesn't, what are the best ways to grow my portfolio, and kind of just bringing you guys a full access episode of what I would do if I were entering into the hobby now and what I believe could really work for you guys who want to just scale up your portfolio, invest in sports cards, and hopefully, potentially one day make this your main gig. So the first overall thing that I really wanted to go over is going to be the supply and demand tactics that go on in the sports card hobby as they do in any other market. So a lot of the times I see a lot of people buying into the hype on certain players, on certain sports, what's hot, they're buying. And that is proven to be probably the method that would lose you the most amount of money in this hobby, because a player's hype train is eventually going to fall off, and a lot of the times, it's proven that that's probably going to lose you upwards of 50% on your money, and that is just because if, supply, especially on newer products, a lot of this happens on newer products. So when a product just drops, for example, Prism 2022 basketball has dropped fairly recently. And a lot of people open up these products and they send them in for grading. And so what happens is right now there's probably tens of thousands of these cards stuck at PSA, which is essentially a grading service, the most popular grading service. And what's going to happen is that a lot of them are going to be returned to the graders in, the next coming weeks or the next coming months, and they're going to hit the market. And so what's going to happen is that the supply on these cards is going to rise very significantly. So say if the supply goes from 100 to 300 in the next 2 months, the demand is going to have to triple as well for that card to stay at the price it is now. So the first big thing I would recommend is to avoid new products. New products are the easiest way to lose your money, and that is simply because you're buying in when the supply is low, and the supply is just going to continue to ride up in the next coming weeks or months or years or whatever it is. So that is one thing. Scarcity is key in this hobby, and especially in a market where prices can be going down and the comps are going to come in lower and lower. You want to definitely make sure that you're going after cards that are not commonly found. And I think as of now, that's going to be the case. When Fanatics comes in and makes it a lot more mainstream, and as movies come out, as a lot of publicity hits the sports card market, I believe we're going to reach a point where a 20,000 population on a Luka Doncic Prism PSA 10 can maybe actually sustain itself, and there may be more than 20,000 buyers for a Luka Doncic Prism PSA 10. However, at the moment, the hobby is not quite there yet. So I think buying right now, you want to go after scarcer options. And the thing is, even if Fanatics does come in and blow this thing up, right, you still wouldn't want to be going after base cards, because if a base card doubles in price, and the demand is double the supply on a base card, could you imagine if you went after a parallel of that player? If the base card doubles, I believe a parallel like a blue Prism, if there are 199 out there, there could be 1,000 buyers out there. And that means the price could potentially 5x if the base Prism were to double. So you always have to make sure that your money's working in the right spots. Because while a base Prism could go up, while, there could be other good investments, you want to be essentially positioned in the place with the lowest risk with the highest reward. So that's the ratio I really look for when I'm investing in sports cards. If I'm buying a player, when his cards are already down 90%, I think he's in a real slump. Say he's been injured for the last 2 years and he's just about to make a return. You got to just look at how low can this card get and how high can this card get. And a lot of the times I see a lot more runway in a card than, potential loss. And so that's when I will go ahead and buy a card. One key example, of course, is several players who were injured, like I told you guys. So, those Kawhi Leonard this past year, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., a whole lot of other players that, weren't really in the radar last year, so their prices are really suffering. And as soon as they come back, now there's more demand on their cards, supply is the same, so you could likely see a good price increase on those players. So that's one thing I really want to push into you guys is supply and demand, and you always have to be thinking about, essentially, you can look back. What I would suggest personally, if I was getting into the hobby today, is, looking back at prices over the last 2 years, whether on alt, card ladder, market movers, whatever it is that suits your boat and fits your budget. Look back at price trends and try to match it with, when players were performing well, when the market was performing well, when this happened, when that event happened, how did prices adjust? Like when The Last Dance came out, how did prices adjust on Michael Jordan cards, Tim Duncan cards, Kobe Bryant cards, and just really study what happens when events happen, when players, say make the finals, win a championship, because you'll be really surprised. For example, when Steph Curry won his championship last year, his prices did not go up. They in fact fell after the finals. And that is because, the demand was so hot into the playoffs, and it's all based on essentially expectation. So if Steph Curry at that point was expected to win a championship, his prices are already blended in. So if Zion Williamson is expected to become a top 20 player of all time, his prices are going to reflect that. So if he falls short of that, his prices are going to go down. And if he, in fact, is a top 20 player of all time, his prices probably won't even go up much because, the expectation was that. So the prices were blended in to their expectation. So that is one big thing you have to understand when you're buying a player. Is he expected to win a championship? Like Josh Allen, his prices have been fumbling recently. They've gone down a lot over the last few weeks. And that is simply because everyone already kind of knows he's the best quarterback in the league, or at least the second best, top 2 quarterback in the league. And so even if he performs at that level, you're not going to see his prices go up because, his prices are priced as if they were expected to do that well. So that is one big thing. Expectations, supply and demand. Those are the 2 main things I think are going to really matter. But of course, you have to be a fan of the sport that you're buying. I'm not a big fan of people who are buying up sports that they don't know of because someone told them this or that. I personally am, I would say an expert in basketball and football, and I don't really like touching much else because that's what I know. And, if I know the players, if I know, what I guess the overall economy is in the sport, where values are, where Jason Tatum's compared to Donovan Mitchell, where Luka is compared to Trey, that really helps you because you can spot a lot of undervalued players. One, for example, is Donovan Mitchell right now. A Luka Doncic National Treasures rookie card is going to be at least $200,000. And a Donovan Mitchell is around $7,000 to $8,000, and a BGS 9.5, which is pretty much the best Beckett grade you can get. So really looking at ratios, especially even Trey Young is around $40K. Donovan Mitchell is around $7 to $8K. Being a basketball fan, I truly disagree with that, and I know a lot of it can be popularity and demand as well, but I think a lot of that does change. A player who's popular today may not be popular in a year or two. A player that's not popular today could be popular in a year or two if they get to the right team, if they win a championship. I really think about Giannis when I think about that. He was not a very collectible player, even when he was coming up in Milwaukee during 2015 season, 2016 season. And it wasn't until he won his first MVP was when people really started to accept him in the market. People became his fans. And that's when his prices really started to go up. So one guy I look at that could be Donovan Mitchell. If the Cavs are able to make a push in the Eastern Conference, we could see a little bit of a sentiment change around that. And we could also see things go the opposite way. For example, Lonzo Ball, when he came out and he was a rookie, he had all this hype around him and so much expectation, so many fans of his that were buying up his cards for their PC, they like to say. And of course, right now, his mark is not very popular. His cards have absolutely tanked in price. So it goes both ways. But I truly believe that if you're buying up a player for his play on the court and, the rest is going to kind of, play itself out, and I think you're not going to lose too bad. So I really hope this video helped you guys out. I can't make a part 2 to go a lot more in depth with you guys, because I feel like I just kind of scratched the surface on, certain, just, I guess, tactics that can help you guys. But I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and other than that, I'm out. Peace.